Welcome back for another episode of Banging the Can, the Houston sports podcast that does not apologize for championship rings and tings. I am your host, Ross Bolen, and what did I tell you, huh? From the game I got to go see at the behest of the Fertitta family earlier on in the season, I've been saying it. Alperen Sengun is the truth and the light. Sengun is the future. Alperen. We got a guy named Alperen, who I have to assume we're all going to call Al, that is now the future of this franchise. According to my man Ben DeBose on Yahoo, over his last 7 games, the 19-year-old big man is averaging 12.7 points on 51.7% shooting, 5.3 rebounds, 3.1 assists, and 1.1 blocks in 20.1 minutes. And Alperen, Al, is mentally preparing to work with Hakeem Olajuwon to further improve his game. Since retiring in 2002, you may remember, Hakeem has mentored many different prominent NBA players like Kobe and LeBron and Dwight, which worked out less well than we'd hoped, obviously. But this guy has next. There's no question anymore. If you're watching the Rockets play and you know basketball, this is the guy. Now, Jalen Green's hurt, and he's a ton of raw talent and obviously athleticism, but in terms of basketball IQ and you can always tell with rookies and with early players, like, young guys, where their ceiling is based on certain pieces of the game that they do or do not get. And Al has all of the pieces that point to him being a brilliant NBA player with the capacity to learn and grow, to raise his own ceiling, and to become an all-star. Like, that's the path he's on. This dude is schooling people, and he's 19. Coach Silas has got to stop playing Daniel Tice or whatever his name is. If Sengun isn't getting at least 25 minutes a game to help him develop and learn as quickly as possible, given what we've seen him able to bring to the table already, then we have a coaching problem at this point with Steven. I don't, maybe it's like maybe they see something I don't, maybe they know something I don't. And yes, the trend is up. Yes, all of Rockets Twitter is stoked to see that Sengun's minutes are trending upward. But Al not being like the center focus of the team, especially when Green is out, is fucking weird to me. And like I suggested last week, if it's because of Christian Wood, then move Christian Wood. I already want to see Al play over him. His basketball IQ is through the roof. It's more than the other 4 guys on the court with him combined. Some of the passes he's pulling off, he looks like fucking Magic Johnson. How is he not? Coach, this is a development season. Play the boy. We beg of you. Every minute of the game. Burn him out. No, I'm kidding. Don't get him hurt. But I can't find a Sengun jersey anywhere, and I'm getting more and more dangerously close by the day to paying for a custom, which has never panned out for me historically, actually. So let's try to avoid that. Rockets restock? Maybe Rockets.com or whatever. Holler at me. Just send me one. Sengun, if you're listening, can I get a signed jersey? You're a god with a W. Unbelievable, though. I mean, it really is cool to see. Like, we just haven't had that many situations like this in the past. I mean, since Harden came over from OKC, and he was already several years into his development, at least 4. And this guy's fresh. And we're seeing it and watching that kind of, like that, oh, shit. This dude has serious, serious potential. Watching that unfold over the course of the past 20-something games has been magical. He's the biggest bright spot in active Houston sports, so not counting the Astros because they're in the offseason. Sengun, the future! which is now. Today's episode of BTC is brought to you by BetQL Daily. I started betting on sports back in college, and I quickly learned how elevated the sports viewing experience is when you've got more writing on the game than just your feelings. And I've been enjoying the heck out of sports betting ever since. Do you feel like the last one out when it comes to sports betting? Like you don't know where to start? BetQL Daily, sponsored by FanDuel, is the must-listen-to show for sports bettors and sports fans alike. You can understand where the market is moving, which smart bets are out there, and have some fun listening while you're at it. Hosts Joe Ostrowski and Joe Giglio serve up Wagertainment, the sports talk you love with the betting insights you need each weekday. You can find out where the market is moving across all the week's biggest sporting events and bets. If you miss out on earlier games, the Joes have you covered there too with recaps from some of the biggest moments in recent sports. Joe and Joe are fun and authentic with great takes. Their insights are awesome. So if you're not sure where to start with sports betting, start with BetQL Daily. Presented by FanDuel. Listen weekdays, 9 a.m. to noon Eastern on Odyssey, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app. That's BetQL Daily. This upcoming weekend, we have, as Battle Red Blog put it, the Stupor Bowl. The Stupor Bowl between the Jacksonville Jaguars and Houston Texans, and what will go down undoubtedly as one of the shittiest matchups in the history of one of the shittiest divisions in sports in the form of the AFC South. This is a dumpster fire inside of a dumpster fire inside of a dumpster fire covered in poo, which is melted poo. Battle Red Blog also posed this question that I wanted to throw out there because I thought it was funny. Are you going to be rooting for the Texans to stave off the embarrassment of losing to the Jaguars, or are you going to root for the tank to help bring Houston one step closer to a top pick, to a top 2 pick? Yeah, I'm rooting for us to get rolled. And I think he put this question out in fairness, or Battle Red Blog did, before Urban Meyer got fired, which we will get to in a second because it is equally funny. But, bro, I don't know how much more clear the fan base can be. We are done with this team. It's a joke. We're wearing brown bags on our heads to the game and begging Cal to sell with signs, and it's over. Like, there's no coming back from this. I don't know. Have you ever seen a franchise come back from something like this? It's not a thing that happens. It's like if you thought Theranos could still be a successful company. What the fuck is wrong with you? It's over. It's broken. We failed. We lost. This is forever. You understand what I'm saying? Until the team is sold, this is the product. Just pure diarrhea water. Forever and ever, a fucking ocean of it. That's the Texans. I'm not rooting for us to beat anyone at anything. Ever again. And now people are listening like, oh, you're not a real Texans fan. Fuck you. That is insane. You don't just take it on the chin over and 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 say, this is my life. This is what it was supposed to be. Fuck that. This team is trash. Rooting for them against the Jaguars. Like, I give a fuck what pick we get. What the fuck are we going to do with a draft pick? What difference does it make? 138? We don't, you know what? Just give us one pick in each round in the middle. It doesn't fucking matter. We don't have the personnel to make the picks. Easterby? Evangelical Earthworm Jim? Sorry, I'm angry. It's just embarrassing. And the only silver lining to this entire Texans fucking fan experience is that the Jags are somehow just as embarrassing. I don't know how. When they got Trevor Lawrence, I thought like, oh, okay, well, now we're clearly the clear-cut embarrassment of the whole league, really, but of clearly the AFC South, which is really where we've focused, you know, over the years, historically, as Texans fans. It's not like we're looking around the rest of the fucking conference like, ooh, who are we going to play in the playoffs? Because that's not really a thing for us. So we mostly pay attention to our division. So we're very familiar with the Colts and Titans and Jags. And to see one of them equally as shitty as us is frankly amazing and also somehow comforting. Because the Jags already had to fire Urban Meyer. And this has to go down as one of the biggest busts in the history of coaching hires, or maybe just hires, period, in any profession across professionalism and career world and corporate America. This fucker was signed to a 5-year deal in the offseason, and he didn't make it through one. 5-year deal. This is his only season with the Jags. They went 2-11, their 10th season with double-digit losses in the past 11 years, which is not good. Okay, so let's run through all the shitty Urban Meyer things that he did really quick because they're hilarious. So, he hired a strength and conditioning coordinator who had been accused of making racist remarks and bullying black players. Then he had that video taken. Let's start at the very beginning. I'm going to bounce around here. The latest embarrassment was a report Wednesday in the Tampa Bay Times in which former kicker Josh Lambo alleged that Meyer kicked him in the leg while he was stretching in warm-ups before a practice during the week of the final preseason game. That's hilarious. Urban Meyer kicked his kicker. What? League sources also confirmed to ESPN on Saturday an NFL Network report that Jaguars receiver Marvin Jones Jr. had to be persuaded to return to the team facility after leaving in response to Meyer's published criticism of the wide receivers. Sources also said that Meyer and Jones had a heated exchange at practice after he returned. That's just an example of one of many of dysfunction. So, let's see. Khan, by the way, is the owner who ended up having to fire Meyer less than a year after he sat next to him in a press conference and proclaimed, and I quote, "This time I got it right," end quote, when he chose the 3-time national championship coach to replace Doug Maroney. So in February, Urban Meyer hired former Iowa strength coach Chris Doyle, who was accused of making racist remarks and belittling and bullying players while with the Hawkeyes, according to ESPN. Doyle resigned a day later after the Jaguars were criticized for the hire by the Fritz Pollard Alliance. Not sure what that is. Doesn't matter. He hires a guy, he has to fire him immediately. In May, Meyer and the Jaguars signed Tim Tebow to play tight end, a position the former Heisman Trophy winner had never played before. Tebow participated in OTAs, minicamp, and training camp, but struggled as a blocker and was released during the first cuts. The NFL fined the Jaguars $200K and Meyer $100,000 for excessive contact during a June 1st organized team activity. They also had to forfeit 2 OTAs during the first week of the 2022 offseason, meaning they will only have 8. So he's already hurt the future of the franchise as well. Again, 5-year contract with the Jags that he signed in January of this very year, and he didn't even make it to the next January. Couldn't hit the 1-year mark. In late August, the NFL Players Association said it would initiate an investigation after Meyer said he and Balke considered a player's vaccination status for final roster cuts, because COVID-19 protocols imposed on unvaccinated players who test positive or are identified as high-risk close contact are more stringent than the protocols for vaccinated players. So they caught a fine for that, or they're being investigated for that. Meyer also had, again, they had Trevor Lawrence, the number 1 overall pick. This is since Andrew Luck, the guy that people have been like, this could be the next Peyton Manning, the next great quarterback, right? The next Tom Brady, the next whoever the fuck you want to pick. I mean, they had him alternating with the first-team offense with Gardner Minshew throughout training camp to earn the starting quarterback job, eventually announced Lawrence as a starter on August 25th, and then traded Minshew to Philadelphia 3 days later. What a fucking waste. So it was just a mindfuck. And then he admits it after the fact. The dude is a psychopath. He operates like no one I've ever watched, almost as if he wants us all to despise him. Then, to make matters worse, October 1st, a day that will live in infamy, when the video goes viral of Urban at the bar, like, it says, dancing close, a woman was dancing close to his lap. And what I would describe it as a college-age looking girl grinding on his junk is what I would say happened. But the videos went viral all over the internet and were hysterical, and just even further confirmed that this man is a lost cause. And yet, he apologizes in positional group meetings early in the week, then at a news conference, and again in a team meeting later in the week, and then Khan, the owner, issues a public rebuke. Here's the quote from Meyer. Just stupid. And so I explained everything that happened and owned it. Just stupid. Should not have had myself in that kind of position. I mean, considering you're married and all that, yeah. I mean, the joke that I made when this broke, when that happened, was that, like, it's as if he doesn't know iPhone cameras are a thing. Like, you're in a public bar area surrounded by people, and you're Urban Meyer, the head coach of the failing Jacksonville Jaguars, and you somehow convince yourself that the crotch grinding is going to go unnoticed? How many booze drinks does it take to get to that point where you can convince yourself of that if you're Urban? Probably not many, it doesn't seem. He said his family was understandably upset that his daughter Gigi posted a message of support on her Instagram story, and his wife Shelly posted a message on Twitter and announced that she was no longer going to be active on the social media platform. The Jaguars won their first game of the season 2 weeks later by beating Miami 23-20 in London, ending a franchise record 20-game losing streak dating to the 2020 season opener. The Jags lost 20 straight games. That is legitimately hard to do in the NFL. There's a fucking whole movie called Any Given Sunday, because on any given Sunday, anybody is supposed to be able to win. Unless you're the Jags. You lose 20 Sundays in a row. Or 20 weeks. I'm sure like 6 of those were Thursday night football games. But holy shit, is it nice to have somebody that somehow is in an even more publicly embarrassing spot than us because they have the big name. Urban Meyer is going to get talked about a ton. Nobody even knows who Coach Culley is. The second Bill O'Brien got tossed out of town, the national media just stopped looking at us. We do not matter anymore. We are irrelevant. People don't know who the fuck is on our team. They certainly don't know who coaches it. People know Urban Meyer, so this is the biggest story in sports today. And they are going to get fried for all of eternity for this, the Jacksonville Jaguars and the owner. Whereas Cal continues to sail under the radar as the shittiest owner in all of professional sports. And I don't know how we stop that. Like, I don't know what to do. Because he's the Urban Meyer of owners. That's the thing. Like, he's incompetent through and through. And I just don't know what to do. But Texans fans, when you get sad thinking about just how shitty this season has been, how embarrassed you are to be wearing that apparel, you're taking the Texans flag out of your front yard and shit. Because it's just sad. It is. And it's annoying. But when you get down, remember, Jags fans in Jacksonville are right there with us. They're right there with us. And enjoy the game this weekend. Go in with the right attitude, though. You've got to go in to this game knowing you are going to watch one of the worst football games you've ever seen in your life. It's like a good, bad movie, though. You know how some movies are so bad that they're legitimately entertaining, like Nicolas Cage's The Wicker Man? Texans-Jags is the Wicker Man of the NFL. It's a good, bad movie. It's so unbelievably shitty that somehow it is actually entertaining. So go in with the right mindset, and I promise you will get something out of this. Today's episode of Banging the Can is brought to you by Birddogs. Birddogs, making the most comfortable shorts in the world with the built-in underwear you know and love for living life and making love. It's like, why would you wear shorts with underwear when you can wear even better shorts with built-in underwear, thus creating less laundry, thus saving the planet, thus making you a hero who also is better looking and more comfortable. Birddogs, you silly bastard. But did you know they make pants for these winter months? I'm holding a pair of their Birddogs joggers right now that I've been wearing almost every day this week, so I finally decided to take them off and show them to you because they're incredibly comfortable. They are probably the most comfortable joggers or any type of item I've ever worn on the bottom half of my body in my entire life. They're very, very good looking. I mean, nobody is going to judge you at a bar or a business meeting or going to bed at night if you're wearing these. They're just sharp, but they're more comfortable than anything that looks as sharp as they do. The new joggers, baby. Check them out on birddogs.com. Grab yourself a pair. Love them. And what's more, for being a Banging the Can listener, when you use the code BTC at checkout on birddogs.com, Birddogs is giving away free whistling footballs like the Nerf football you grew up with, but a Birddogs whistling football. It's orange. It's got their logo on it. It's beautiful. when it flies through the air, it makes this gorgeous noise, and you're going to love it. You're going to love it. Your whole family's going to love it. It's the holiday season. Buy your uncle and your brother and your cousin some Birddogs too. And get you a whistling football with every order you place using the code BTC at checkout. Check out separate orders. Get like 18 footballs. Code BTC, as in banging the can, BTC when you check out on birddogs.com. Houston sports fans, if you wanted something else to feel good about, when you look around and you see all these losses taking place with the Rockets and Texans, and there's just not very much winning going on when the Astros aren't in season, another sad, albeit, in my opinion, very funny story a la Urban Meyer's firing in Jacksonville. Zion Williamson has failed to play in a single game this entire NBA season. You remember Zion? He's like Sean Kemp 2.0. But he can't stay on the court. He looks like he's gained a good, 40 pounds. What's his weight now? It's wild for an NBA guy. 317 pounds, man. Damn. News report disputes Zion Williamson weight rumors. Wait, what? Anyway, we're not here to argue about his weight. The story is this. He had to get a shot in his right foot to help the bone healing process, and it's going to be 4 to 6 weeks before he can even be reevaluated. And they can do further imaging on the foot. He fractured this thing during off-season workouts. He's yet to play in a game. The Pelicans are 9-21, even though they are coming off of what was an incredible buzzer beater Wednesday night against OKC. Just unbelievable. But Zion Williamson is dangerously close to wading into like the territory of irrelevancy that you do not want to wade into. That like Greg Oden waded into. Remember Greg Oden? Yeah, you remember Greg Oden. Funniest dick pics ever created, Greg Oden. Like every human looks funny naked, but for some reason Greg Oden is just the funniest naked human. Anyway, that's not where you want to wade in your first few years of your career when you were a very, very, very high potential prospect expected to be a superstar in this league and potentially even a top 5 player. And now people are looking at you like, yo, you weigh. If I hear the words foot injury and 317 pounds in the same sentence, I'm worried. You know how hard it is to recover from a foot injury when you weigh trace 17? I can't do 317 in Spanish. Why would I even attempt that? I can say each of the numbers individually in Spanish. Got that going for me as a gringo. Tres, uno, siete. Booyah! 15 years of Spanish class. Still got it. But the point is, hey, at least we never had a Zion Williamson. And if you're like, yeah, what about Yao Ming? Shut the fuck up. That's disrespectful. How many All-Star appearances for Yao? The answer is enough. I don't actually remember. But I think every year he was in the league almost. Maybe not his rookie season. Maybe his rookie season? Look, now we're getting distracted. Zion is the joy bringer for us. When you get sad about rebuilding and the Rockets and where we are and the fact that Sengun is getting played like 15 minutes a game for some fucking reason, just remember, at least we are not the Pelicans holding on to Zion Williamson as he eats Cheesecake Factory and gets injections into his big fat foot. I hope I've done my part in making you feel better. F1 fans, if you're listening, and I know a lot of you are, this past weekend's race was insane. Here at Bolen Media, we have an F1 brand called Formula Bone that you can follow on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, and listen to the Formula Bone F1 show wherever you listen to this show, on any of the major podcast platforms. Formula Bone, hosted by my Ross Bolen podcast co-host Jared Borslow, is phenomenal. One of the fastest growing F1 brands in the world. He's got like 75,000 followers on TikTok already, and he just launched this thing a couple months ago. It's nuts. So follow at Formula Bone on TikTok, on Instagram, on Twitter. If you love F1 and you want coverage this offseason, there really is no offseason in F1, as Jared would put it. He's going to be going ham with content all offseason long. So at Formula Bone on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. Listen to the Formula Bone F1 show, hosted by the only other, well, I guess we have 3 full-time employees now. at Bolen Media, but one of the three, Jared Borslow, who is my co-host on our comedy show, The Ross Bolen Podcast. If you love TV and film, we just did the Succession Season 3 finale on Oysters, Clams, and Cockles, our TV and film podcast, formerly the #1 Game of Thrones podcast in the world, if you're wondering why it's named Oysters, Clams, and Cockles. And yeah, I think that'll do it for this week. I am actually looking forward to a Texans game, though, because of the drama surrounding it and the fact that the commentators are going to talk shit about Urban Meyer probably the entire game, because there won't be anything on the field to talk about, really, unless Trevor Lawrence is actually good when Urban's gone and they win like 40-0. Okay, I will say that. I'm not rooting for us, like Battle Red Blog asked. I'm not rooting for us to win, but I'm also not rooting for... I do not want to get the shit kicked out of us. Like, if we lose like 40-0 to the Jags after the rant I just went on, trying to make us feel better, I need it to be close, sort of. Like, this can't be a blowout. We cannot get blown out by the Jags. I will legitimately cry. Please, no. That's too depressing. And I'm going to miss Urban, man. Look, this was a fun ride for non-Jaguars fans and all Urban Meyer haters, which is everyone who he hasn't won a national championship for. And even some of them. The guy's despicable. He's one of the more hateable people in professional or collegiate sports, which, by the way, the latter of which is falling the fuck apart in hilarious fashion. You know how in the economy we're in this period of turbulence where like Bitcoin and all these altcoins and shitcoins have been invented, and the metaverse has been invented, and it's just chaos and nobody really knows what's happening? That's how that feels. I kind of forgot what I was talking about, to be honest with you. I got distracted by Urban Meyer's face in my head. But I'll be back soon. I love you all. Thank you for listening. Tell your Houston friends and family about Banging the Can this holiday season. Follow us everywhere at Banging the Can on TikTok and Instagram and Twitter. Follow me, Ross Bolen, at WRBOLEN, at WRBolen on Twitter and Instagram. Support all the Bolen Media productions. Hit me up on social media to remind me whatever it was I was talking about a couple minutes ago that I forgot, so that I can continue those takes on social media. I'll be back soon. Support our sponsors. Go to birddogs.com. Use the code BTC when you check out for the free whistling football of your life. And listen to BetQL Daily to stay plugged in with all the betting info you need to enjoy your next wager. I am Ross Bolen. This has been Banging the Can. H-Town. Stay down.